Hello and welcome to the Karpfucius Says Podcast, the show where we talk about anything and everything related to living a more purposeful and empowered life. I am your host, Michael Karp, aka Karpfucius. All right, here we go. Episode number 2 of the Karpfucius Says Podcast. I think episode number 1 went pretty well for the very first episode. And as these things go, I'll always be making improvements along the way. But I think for me, I really like to follow my inspiration as soon as I have it. And yesterday I was just inspired. I was like, I don't even know where it came from, but I just came up with a name for the podcast. I was like, oh, cool, Karpfucius Says, that's perfect. And I started it. But yeah, I'm excited. And again, the intentions, at least in the beginning, are for me to find my voice so that I can get confident sharing my message with the world and with people, and sharing it in a way that can benefit the people who can benefit the most from what I have to say and my life experiences and all that different stuff, right? So today, second episode, what I want to talk about today is I want to answer the question, what is a life purpose, really? What is the definition of a life purpose? And more importantly, what is a definition of a life purpose that we can best use to actually find our life purposes, if that's what someone wants to do, or figure out what they really want to do with their lives if they're feeling lost, or figure out what to do if they're at a crossroads in their life and they've been in their career for a while and they're looking to make a change, but they don't know how, and they wouldn't know what they want to do. They just know that what they're doing right now isn't exactly what they want to do anymore. And there are some people who, even through going to college, even through like 10 plus years working like in the workforce, they're still at a place where they don't really know. Sometimes they don't know why they're here, right? Sometimes they don't know what they're good at and what they can excel at and how they can contribute to something with those skills and talents. Some people want to give back to society, but they don't know how. Some people want to serve others, but again, they don't know how. And just in general, there's a lot of lack of clarity, right? And I think it starts with, we understand this concept of a life purpose. And when people are really lost, sometimes they say, I don't know my purpose, right? How do I find my purpose? The first thing people need to get clear on is what a life purpose actually is. You need to know, even if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, if you know, okay, I want to find my purpose, you need to know what that is, what an actual life purpose is, and then that begins the path. That starts to light the path in front of you so that you can take the next steps, the next necessary steps, right? But the first piece of clarity is to define what a life purpose really is. And I believe the reason why so many people struggle to find their life purpose, even if they are consciously looking for it, is because of this big misconception. And the misconception is that their life purpose is just one thing. many people believe that a life purpose is this one thing that will bring them all the clarity, or all the direction in their lives, or all the fulfillment, or it's just one thing that you are searching for that will basically give you everything that you want and basically fill whatever emptiness you may be feeling in your life, or fill what's missing. And what people are really searching for when they're searching for this one thing is they're usually searching for their higher purpose. And their higher purpose is sort of the cosmic purpose, you could say, or it's the purpose that comes from your higher self, or the purpose that comes from the spiritual part of you. And it's very much related to your mission in life. It's very much related to your calling and all these sorts of things. However, this is just one layer of what life purpose as a concept is. What I've found is that a person's life purpose is not just one thing. A person's life purpose is made up of many, many layers. And people need to know which layer they're really searching for, and they need to understand what the layers are, so that you're not spending decades searching for your higher purpose and you're missing all of the other purpose that already exists in your life. And so that you're not missing the kind of more tangible purposes that can also bring you fulfillment, and that can also give you direction, and that can also make you feel like what you're doing is something meaningful and important to you. So a life purpose is not one thing. A life purpose is many layers of things that help to make us feel like we are doing something we really want to do, or that give us direction, and we feel like, yes, I can dedicate myself to this and be really happy and content with that. So when it comes to the layers of purpose, they kind of exist in, the more that I've paid attention to it, the more I realize there is purpose in everything. And for example, like, you can have a higher purpose, right? For me, I believe that my higher purpose is to help people achieve their dreams. And that for me is incredibly purposeful. It's incredibly heart-centered, and it comes from deep, deep, deep within me, right? But I also know that there is purpose in me brushing my teeth, right? Like, that is an important and purposeful thing. There's a reason for that, right? I also know there is purpose in me having a conversation with my parents. I also know there is purpose in me creating this podcast episode. I also know that there's purpose in me going for a walk and listening to music, and like the other things that are not like, oh, this big, huge, higher purpose sort of thing, but they are still meaningful, and they're still important, and they're definitely important in my life, and they're important to me. And when you see purpose as layers instead of one thing that is your higher purpose, the more you pay attention to it, the more purposeful your life can feel. It's not that your life was not purposeful before, it always was. And these things in your life were still important to you, but you may have glossed over them because you were focused on other things, and life happens, right? But the more we become aware of the purpose in the small things, the purpose in the big things, the purpose in your friendships, the purpose in your family, the purpose in your work, even if you don't like it, there's probably still a purpose in it. There's probably still it's probably still important in some way, like to you and to other people, and maybe to your family, and maybe for your future. Maybe it's a stepping stone. There's always a reason for everything. And the more you pay attention to it, the more you see it, and the more you can experience it because you are aware of it. If you're not aware, it's difficult to experience it. Like, it's difficult to, you may even hang out with some of the people in your life, and if you're feeling really down, you're feeling like, oh, like things, like they're not really mattering that much to you and blah, blah, blah. You may not get the same level of fulfillment from it, right? And it's all just based on your perspective in that moment and the way you are seeing things. Some people get really caught up in their higher purpose and they spend decades searching for it. Some, do psychedelics, ayahuasca, mushrooms, stuff like that to try and figure out what they're supposed to be doing. Some take trips, right? They go to foreign countries, they travel, trying to find themselves. And like, it's not that these aren't good things. I think they can be, right? You have to know yourself, but it's only one layer. It's only one layer of the whole concept of purpose. And sometimes if you are incredibly focused on finding your life purpose, like, man, I need to find this, I need to figure out what I'm really meant to do with my life, and it's almost consuming you. Like, maybe some people become obsessive over this, right? And they're really focused on not having it. They're really focused on not knowing what to do. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And they're affirming it, right? Over and over and over again. Sometimes this makes it harder to actually find what you're looking for. It's kind of like some people who are looking for a relationship, right? And they're so focused on not having the relationship, and they're so like feeling bad about it, and it's like really bothering them, and like they're feeling this void and all that stuff. It often makes it harder to actually find the relationship and attract that relationship into your life. It applies to life purpose too. I think one of the reasons why people spend decades searching and not finding it is because they're focused more on not having it than on actually finding it. So the solution to this is, yes, like if you want to find this, I think it's not a bad idea to actually search for it and take some actions that can lead you towards what your deeper purpose is. But don't be so negatively focused upon it, because it's going to create an energetic barrier. It's going to be harder for you to actually manifest your purpose and attract it. Start paying attention to the purpose that already exists in your life. Start paying attention to the things that are already meaningful to you, the things that are already important to you. And as you do this, you'll start shifting from negative attention on the subject of purpose to positive attention on the subject of purpose. And you'll be way more likely to be in harmony with actually finding the layer of purpose that you are searching for. It may be your higher purpose, but it may be something else. It may be a person that comes into your life. It may be starting a family. It may be a certain career. It may be a business that you start. It may be something that you create, like art or writing or music or something like that. It may be a way in which you serve others. And, it can come in so many different ways. And the way to really put yourself in harmony with finding, because you may not be aware. You may not be aware of the type of purpose that's really best for you. So the way to really do it, in my opinion, is number one, start paying attention to the purpose that already exists in your life. And if that's difficult for you, try to pay attention to the purpose that exists in life in general, right? Then the next thing I would do, and this is what I always do when I want to figure something out, this is what I did right before I really understood what my purpose was. And what I did was I set an intention. And what an intention does is it's a very low resistance way of basically sending your energy out in front of you to do some work for you, to set things up for you, to help you figure something out or manifest something, attract something, experience something. So the intention I would set is something like this. It is my intention to find my purpose, whichever layer of purpose is best for me, and I'm completely unattached to how or when it arrives in my life, and I can't wait to see what happens. Simple, keep it light, and allow your energy to do some work for you. Then, pay attention to what arrives in your life. Pay attention to the people that come into your life. Pay attention to the conversations that you have. For me, it was a video on YouTube. Turned on my TV, and there was a video that was suggested to me through the YouTube algorithm, and that happens quite a lot, actually. But this video got me back on track and got me figuring out what I really wanted to do. And maybe I wouldn't even be creating this podcast right now if it weren't for me setting that intention, and then paying attention to what shows up. And when I feel the inspiration, when I feel the magnetic pull towards something, following it, like flowing with that, not being resistant to it, but allowing it, saying, oh, maybe this video has an answer for me, right? Even though I felt a little bit of resistance before watching the video, I was like, maybe there's an answer in here. And it turned out there were some very, very important answers in there for me. So, to cap this off, the first thing people need to get clear on when they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives or trying to figure out what their life purpose is to understand that your life purpose it's not likely to be just one thing. It's likely to have many layers that permeate all the different areas of your life. And one of the best ways to really kick things off is to start paying attention to the purpose that already exists in your life, and then set an intention to basically be shown your purpose, right? Or be shown the way, or be shown the next step to figuring it out. And when my course is done, I will probably announce it on this podcast, and that will be everything that will contain everything that I've learned about how to find your life purpose, and how I've helped other people and coached other people to figure out what to do with their lives and then succeed at it. I'm pretty excited. All right. Thank you very much for listening. This has been episode number 2 of the Karpfucius Says Podcast. Follow, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.